Order the January 14th meeting of the Nelson County Board of Supervisors. If you all would please rise for a moment of silence and then join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Mr. Rutherford, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Candy.
Not yet, just hold on. All right, so before we get started on the agenda, we have a special guest with us that I would like to recognize. We have a pending retirement, so Linda Staten will be retiring shortly, and I have a statement. I just want to read this. Linda began her career in Nelson County with the school board in September of 1995, worked as an accounting clerk and accounting assistant through March of 2006, until she took a position with the county in the finance department as accounts payable finance technician. She worked in this capacity until she retired from the county July 1st of 2014, retirement number one, returning to serve in a part-time finance technician position 2 years later in July of 2016 until rejoining the county full-time in the county administrator's office in November of 2016. In February of 2017, Ms. Staten returned to the finance department as the payroll finance technician and then ultimately was appointed Director of Finance and Human Resources in August of 2022, serving to present. It is with the utmost gratitude that we wish Ms. Staten health, happiness, and relaxation in her retirement from the county service on this Friday, January 17th. So congratulations. Thank you for everything, for all of your service. We certainly appreciate you. And Grace, good luck. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda, I'm going to hand the meeting over for reorganization of the board and our annual organizational meeting to Ms. McGarry.
Good afternoon and happy new year to everyone. As the board is aware, and most of the public is likely aware, that annually the board goes through the reorganization of the board and has an annual organizational meeting. This is comprised of election of a chair and vice chair for the upcoming year 2025, and then consideration of a resolution that sets the meeting dates for the regular board meetings and also handles some board appointments. So this is pursuant to our applicable code provisions of 15.2, 1416 of the Code of Virginia, and also Chapter 2, Article 2 of the Code of Nelson County. And this prescribes that this happens at the first meeting in January of each year. As also noted, matters to be determined by the board, in addition to the appointment of a chairman and vice chair, include the establishment of a schedule of regular and as applicable special meetings, the establishment of rules of order, and the establishment of meeting agendas, and the establishment of board appointments. So first off, we will look at the election of chair and vice chair. Does the board wish to consider each of these separately or together?
I believe doing it combined makes sense.
Let's do it together.
Okay, I'll now take nominations for chair and vice chair for calendar year 2025.
Okay, I move that we appoint Ernie Reed as chair and Jessica Ligon as vice chair.
Second.
Okay, I'll take that as a nomination. Are there any other nominations? Okay.
Last chance.
I will close the floor for nominations and call for a vote on the election of Mr. Reed as chair and Ms. Ligon as vice chair.
Mr. Rutherford.
Yes.
Dr. Liggins.
Yes.
Mr. Reed.
Yes.
Mr. Bond.
Yes.
Congratulations. Next, we need to consider Resolution 2025-01, Annual Organizational Meeting of the Board and Appointments. The current resolution you have mimics the current regular meeting schedule, which are to be conducted in calendar year 2025 here in the General District Courtroom located in the courthouse, second Tuesday of each month beginning at 2 p.m. and reconvening thereafter at 7 p.m. Should the regular meetings fall on any legal holiday, the meeting shall be held on the next following regular business day without any action of any kind by the board, unless otherwise canceled. It also states that should the chairman or vice chairman, if the chairman is unable to act, find and declare that weather or other conditions are such that it's hazardous for members to attend regular meetings, the meetings will be continued on the following Tuesday. Such findings shall be communicated to members, staff, and the press as promptly as possible. All hearings and other matters previously advertised shall be conducted at the continued meetings and no further advertisement is required. It also states that special meetings of the Board of Supervisors may be convened from time to time as determined by the board in accordance with the applicable provisions of the Code of Virginia and Code of Nelson County. It also states that in accordance with the Code of the County of Nelson, Virginia, Robert's Rules of Order shall be observed as the rules for conducting business of the Board of Supervisors, and the agenda for all meetings of the board shall be established by the clerk of the board in consultation with the chair. Okay, does the board wish to make any changes to its regular meeting schedule or any of those housekeeping items?
I'm fine with the schedule as is.
Yep.
I'm good.
So moved.
Okay. Also included in your annual meeting resolution are consideration of the following appointments, which you see there and on the second page of the resolution. We've included names italicized and in bold for your consideration today.
I'm willing to continue serving on the PDC. One, I know we had discussed, obviously earlier this year, the transition of the Planning Commission. Jessica, are you still interested in participating on that?
I am.
Okay. David, I guess, did you want to say so?
Yeah, I'll, on social services and EMS. So we're not necessarily tying Director of Emergency Services to EMS Council, right? That can be with the chair being Director of Emergency Services.
Right, so this,
Unless you don't want to be on EMS.
upon
do you?
further inspection of
Want
Director,
to.
Yeah, well,
sorry, it's okay. So the Director of Emergency Services, as listed here, is pertains to that position listed in our emergency operations plan.
Right.
We have a Director of Emergency Services, which is John Adkins, as far as his department head title. The emergency operations plan also has an emergency services coordinator, which would be John as the staff member. So
Yeah.
does that help clear that up?
No,
any?
not really. What I was referring to, and I apologize, is the EMS Council. Does that have to be tied in with Director of Emergency Services position?
It does not
Okay,
have to.
that's-
You could
so-
make a separate appointment for that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm willing to continue serving unless you want to start doing that.
I think having you on the EMS council makes the most sense.
Okay.
So we can list
Yeah.
that separately as Emergency Services Council and then.
Yeah, and that's how it is on here. I just didn't know if we wanted to tie it in. So I will continue to serve there.
Oh, okay, yes, it is
Yes,
there.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
and social services, yeah.
You want to stay on the Piedmont housing? Or not Piedmont housing? Piedmont,
Career Works
Career
Piedmont
Works.
Council.
I'm fine with that. Of course, jail board's not on here, and
No, that one is not, and I believe it's not because we started making that appointment
in June.
in July, yeah, with the
Yeah.
fiscal year. If you want to switch to an annual appointment, we can do that,
that
just
would
add
be
it
good.
here.
it's up to you, Jessica.
Seems cleaner.
Yeah, it would, I know you had indicated if there were some time constraints.
Yeah.
I have no problem serving on that capacity.
All right. I'm game to serve the county as much as I can, but I love doing it after business hours.
Understand.
So sacrificing a whole day to go to Charlottesville is hard for me. So if he was willing to take that,
Yeah.
I was willing to give it to him.
I have no problem
Can
doing
have
that.
that.
That was jail board.
Jail board.
Mhm.
I think everything else is as is.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
and just to bring it all around, I'm happy to continue serving on TJPDC.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so am I correct in that the only change is Dr. Legan for Nelson County Planning Commission? And then adding the
Jail.
ECRJ appointment for
Yeah.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yep.
Do you want a motion going down saying the names?
I don't believe that's necessary.
No, just the
Yeah.
resolution as amended.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're looking for that motion. I move that we approve Resolution R 2025-01, Nelson County Board of Supervisors Annual Meeting as amended.
I'll second.
Okay, sorry, can we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Dr. Liggins?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Okay, we'll now turn the meeting over to our new chairman, Mr. Reed. Congratulations.
Thank you. Just two things I'd like to make note of before we continue with the meeting. First, my thanks to Mr. Parr for the last year of service. No small deal, and was done exceptionally well, I think, so thank you for that. The other is not something that we've discussed, but something that we're all terribly aware of, and that is that the absence of Mr. Harvey is something that we all take very seriously and very sympathetically as well. We know how much he would love to be able to be more active in what's going on, and we also know what he's dealing with and trying to keep himself above water, much less be able to actively serve out his term. But I do want to say that I know we're all deeply concerned for him and would hope to see him back in any capacity. And also, I think I've kind of found that in his absence, it's really necessitated that we work a little bit more as a team, being a little bit tighter board than we would be otherwise. And so I know we're all going to do the very best we can, to make sure that his what's likely to be his last year as a supervisor is one that he can really be happy to have, been not just a witness, but also, part of his legacy and such. So just wanted to make note of that. So that brings us to the to public comments. And I have 3 people signed up for public comments. You don't have to be signed up for public comments to speak, but it really helps us when you do sign up ahead of time. And because it's my first time back as chair, I'm going to read the rules for both public comments and public hearings, which are the same for everybody, and to remind me. As the chair, I will open the public hearing or public comments and call speakers to speak from the sign-up sheet. When your name's called, please come to the podium, speaking into the microphone. Clearly state your name and address for the record. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, please clarify and identify the group you're representing. Only comment, that's purely public hearing, I'll not say that. Individuals get to speak for 3 minutes or less. The chair can grant more time at his discretion. Groups should have 1 person to speak on their behalf. They should keep their comments to 5 minutes or less. Again, the chair can grant more time. And someone needs to be a timekeeper for me. Thank you for doing that. Grateful. And so Jessica will let you know when there are 30 seconds left with the famous stop sign that we have. Okay. First to speak in public comments is Ms. Valerie Walker.
Good afternoon. My name is Valerie Walker. I live at 9897 Norwood Road. I speak in reference to the special use permit number 240014, large solar energy system proposal to be installed in Gladstone, South District Zone A1, agricultural land. The total acreage involved is 4,646.8 acres. The project footprint will cover approximately 550 acres. The Wild Rose Solar project has been an item discussion since, I know, June, when it was presented to the public here. This is not an easy decision for the board, as I've said each time I speak on this. The changing of regulations from one thing to another creates real problems, and this one, I think, creates a problem for the governance of the board itself. I respect what they're doing. However, some things need to be pointed out for the public to be aware of. For a board to act in favor of an exemption to special permit, it undermines the power of the law itself, its regulation, its security for its citizens, and its protection that maintains order, direction, structure, all the things that a society must have, and its citizens to recognize where they are, what they're doing, what is theirs, what is not. Anything else such as proffers, which are offered to sweeten the package for an exemption to occur, amounts no more than bribes. This particular large solar system as proposed does not bring to the Gladstone community other than a large industrial operation sitting in the midst of an agricultural land and family homes. The money proffered is dangled before the board, and it speaks only too loud of how this entire situation undermines our board of supervisors itself, our county, and our citizens. Are we so easily bought, and are our laws that have been established over the periods of time, are they so manipulative that we think that our needs are greater than the respect of the law? This is a door we don't want, nor do we need to open. Respect, faith, and current zoning needs to go forward, or allow us all to apply and receive special permits and projects that we need to put in place. Because why not? If one is allowed, others should be.
Thank you. Mr. Stephen Bane.
Stephen Bane, 620 Farnop Climb, Nellysford. Board of Supervisors. This is also regarding the review of the SUP application for the Wild Rose Solar Farm scheduled for the evening session, I believe. I hope that the Board of Supervisors will follow sentiment of county residents, particularly those in the Gladstone district. Number one, the jobs created, both temporary and permanent, would likely not benefit Nelson County residents, and the estimated 2 to 5 permanent jobs are underwhelming and would certainly not benefit Nelson County residents. Number two, the efficiency of the energy produced in terms of cost per kilowatt hour is not guaranteed or likely to be as advertised. Number three, the energy produced would likely not benefit Nelson County. In fact, most certainly not benefit Nelson County residents. Number four, there is material credible concern that the proposed solar farm is not in substantial accord with the Nelson County Comprehensive Plan. I note the term sheets included in the meeting packet, which are the draft terms and conditions from the developer. Following our observations, one, including the term sheets proposed by the developer, suggests that these are the terms the county would likely be accepting. I hope that is certainly not the case. Number two, consideration paid to Nelson County beyond taxes must be negotiated to be at least the greatest level realized by other peer counties. That is known information. Number three, with respect to the Virginia Tech professor, Nelson County must not accept community economic benefits that are only above average. Nelson County can and must command community economic benefits that are excellent or outstanding, in fact, best of breed. Number 4, we note in the term sheets that the developer holds the right to assign its responsibilities to any other entity with unilateral notice. Any such assignment must be bilateral with Nelson County. Also, there is no evidence that county staff performed a background check on the developer. This is a critical step in due diligence. In summary, Nelson County holds the leverage in the negotiation of terms and conditions that are absolutely best of breed. It is incumbent upon Nelson County to leverage the best deal for the county and residents. We know that there will be continued growing demand to locate a solar farm in Nelson County. It appears that this opportunity is a stretch and should be bypassed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bane. Mr. William Piercy.
William Piercy, 608 Fortunes Cove, Livingston. First of all, congratulations to Mr. Reed and Dr. Ligon on your appointments. Happy New Year to you all. We do miss Tommy. I stand in favor of Nelson County Resolution 2025-04, which is the Blue Ridge Rising Strategic Plan. As some of you may know, I have encouraged Mr. Kevin Brandt to include advocating for the Blue Ridge Safety Act within their agenda. This is still of the bill pending passage in the U.S. Senate, which allows a wintergreen resort to build the exit road and connecting to the Blue Ridge Parkway. And second, I stand in favor of NC 2025-01 through 03, which you already passed. But then the courteous suggestion that with less than 5 of the meeting minutes be included in one of these packets because they're getting pretty thick, hard to carry on. No. But I do appreciate that. There's many plates spinning on the wheel. Therefore, there are serious concerns relative to the CHA report, which is included in that packet. And I believe that they owe Nelson County one more meeting or report on the Larkin property. And I would hope that this would be in the format of something like a town hall where there's Q&A and the public has an opportunity to speak directly to some representatives from the CHA organization. And I think there were some questions that Mr. Parr had asked in earlier meetings that have not yet been addressed by CHA. Third, and I stand in favor of Nelson County requesting RFP from Blue Ridge Solutions and Altumet LLC regarding the school zone speed control projects. Fourth one, I stand opposed to tearing down the recently purchased property on Tambar Road for the DSS. How much time we got there?
You have 30 seconds.
I'll get this one in. I stand in favor of requesting VDOT to initiate a study and include the 6-year improvement plan and smart scale evaluation for the proposed design of an overpass at Highway 29 and Calhoun Road. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Piercy. That's the last person who had pre-signed up for the public comments. If there's anyone else that would like to speak, this would be a chance for you. And if not, I will close the public comments. Do we have to do this for the public comments?
I don't know, but it feels good.
It does, doesn't it? Okay, we'll close the public comments. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any comments on the consent agenda, or do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
If there's no discussion, we'll take a roll call.
Mr. Rutherford,
Yes.
Mr. Parr,
Yes.
Dr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Reed.
Yes. Okay. Our first presentation today is the VDOT report from Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Chairman Reed. Don't have a whole lot to report on, kind of getting back into the swing of things after the holidays. Just like to, we had a great effort from our people for the recent snowstorms and ice storms and winter weather over the past 2 weekends, and our guys did a great job, and they worked very closely with Nelson County School System to look at trouble spots and put a lot of extra effort into roads that might keep you from going to school. And we were very fortunate the temperatures came up some, but we were able to get the roads in condition to where you all could go to school yesterday, even though it was delayed. And that was a directive from the governor, that VDOT do everything possible to get these kids back to school. And our guys up here, our staff up here did a great job. I want to thank the Transportation Operations Director from Nelson County Schools. I talked to David Saturday, Taylor, Ashley.
Yeah.
Taylor and our folks, we had a lot of conversations over the last few days, and kudos to him for being so available to us and giving us information. So that was a good partnership. I do want to announce that we have a new maintenance superintendent at Bryan Area Headquarters, a native from Nelson County, and very glad of that. Jeremy Mays lives over near Lowesville, back that way. He is the new maintenance superintendent. And we also have a new supervisor over there also. His name is Zach Gunner. And we're very pleased with filling those positions. Look, I think we've got a great combination there. So I think you'll continue to see some great work come out of that area headquarters. But we do have some new people there. I do want to talk just a minute about our FY25 budget, VDOT maintenance budget. We're going to be lean the rest of this year till the end of June. We're going to be lean. We are having to cover all of our extra costs from the tropical storm damages, and Nelson County was hit pretty hard, and not just. So we're going to be lean. We're going to fix the safety sensitive issues and do all of that we can. But there's not a lot extra for anything else until we get our new budget July 1 of 25. So just want you to understand that we're not as fast getting some things done. It's because we've been very frugal with our dollars. Hopefully this will change, but right now I'm not authorized to overspend our budget, and I've been told to hold the line. We do have some additional flood damage to repair, and something I don't know if you all know about. We've got a slope repair up on 151 that we didn't find until after maybe a month after. It's just past. It's kind of on the northern end of 151 toward 250. It's right there where we have the asphalt millings piled up. Where we have the extra right of way and we store our millings right there. I know it's north of Land Wade, but south of
Across from Sunset.
yeah. We are going to be having our contractor mobilized to fix that slope. I have been told to fix it regardless of the money, and it's going to be close to something to $800,000 we're gonna spend. We're gonna do a soil nailing on top and bottom, and, but we cannot wait, that cannot wait till next year until I get a new bunch of money, so we are gonna go on and do that. We do have we got a structure on 617 Rockfish River Road that we're gonna have to replace, but the road is open. We made some temporary repairs to get a pipe in, and also one on 620. So those will be coming up. We are delaying those until next fiscal year due to funding. And it's not gonna hurt a thing. We're good, but we are gonna have to delay those. But that is just some information I want to share with you. I don't really have a whole lot of other information to share with you. Like I said, we been in snow removal mode, and we're going to get back doing some of our basic maintenance work that doesn't require purchasing a lot of materials. We'll be cutting brush, running our equipment, probably hopefully cutting some shoulders and pulling ditches. That's low cost. That's equipment and labor, which are our fixed cost anyway. So anyway, that's kind of my plan for the rest of the winter and the spring. But we still want to hear if you have needs. I still want to hear it. If it's something we can pull the trigger on, we'll certainly do it. If it's something that has to wait, I'll certainly let you know that too. So with that.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go down the line and see if we have any additional comments or questions for you. Start with Jesse.
Okay. Yeah, it always starts with me. All right, so I got a list. Just go ahead. First off, thank you for getting the info from me this morning for Whippoorwill. I appreciate that. That has been passed on to them, so we'll keep you apprised. This is where that goes.
Okay.
Yeah. Warminster, down Regina Way. I don't have the road number in front of me. I tried looking on my GPS.
645.
645. I know we had indicated about putting this on the 6-year plan. It's pretty much is it at the tail end? I'd like to just see an updated 6-year plan if we could.
Okay.
What's that?
They had already done part of it.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Is it
closer to the top.
Close to the
That's
top.
how I remember it.
Yeah.
I don't know where that,
Yeah.
exactly where, I don't know if it's in the plan or if it's on the list.
If you could just send me the list, that'd be great. Residents there have corresponded with me.
We can take care of that.
Yeah,
Oh, you got it?
Candy.
Candy's got it. All right, great. Candy, thank you. All right, that would be good. 29, as you're headed northbound and you hit Eddie Embry Bridge right there on 6 and 29, there's a pretty sizable pothole. I speak out of experience. Someone got a flat tire hitting it some time ago.
Is that in the road?
Yeah, it's right. It's in the bridge.
The bridge.
It's in the bridge. Of course, they allege that it came from the pothole, but help some folks out over there. The next one, VDOT right-of-way related to the canoe put in, or the kayak put in over there. Do we have an update? Is there anything else you need from VDOT, Jerry?
I had conversations with Daniel via email yesterday, so we had that rolling.
Okay. Okay, so that's underway.
Jerry, y'all are working that out.
Yes.
I know it was, I saw where y'all emailed each other and whatever's outstanding, y'all working together to get that resolved, right?
Yeah, everything figured out for the next steps.
Awesome. Okay, all right. And I think that is all I got for the moment.
Okay.
I have no problem calling you, as you know.
Okay. Mr. Parr?
Did you get my message a couple weeks ago about that sign that was knocked down on 151 at Avon and Old 151, Route 6?
I think so, Mr. Parr.
It looks like it got knocked off by a truck and it's sitting in the grass on the other side of the guardrail.
That's at 151.
And Avon,
151 and Avon.
yeah.
And,
I was just there inspecting the piece of property and saw the sign beside the guardrail. It's the one that says no big trucks, I think, whatever.
Yeah,
That one.
Yeah, we want to get that back.
Yeah, we need that back up. And then, were we going to discuss the guardrail at Nims? Is that something?
We can, Mr. Brown could possibly speak to that. I did circulate the 2018 study that was done on that and the results from that.
Is that
I'll be glad
this?
to talk about that. yeah.
If you don't mind, please.
Nothing's changed since we looked at it in 2018. I sent Candy some information this morning, and, with guardrail, I know we think, well, let's just put up some guardrail. But we have to understand what guardrail does. Guardrail is to protect motorists from hazards. It is not to protect private property. And I know that's hard for people to understand. I get requests all the time. People that live in a shop curb say, put up a piece of guardrail. Well, this guardrail is not to protect your house, it's to protect motorists. And there are criteria which we can put up guardrail and criteria which we can't. And just as that review from our traffic engineer stated, that location does not meet the warrants to put up guardrail. And the reason that's important, if we do not meet the engineering warrants or criteria to put up guardrail, and we put it up, guardrail is a fixed object. When people hit it, it causes damage, it causes injury. And if we put up guardrail on a section on the side of the highway, and it's not warranted, then we put a hazard in the road. And that's why we are very careful and where it's put up at and where it's not. I will make a suggestion, and I know I don't think this is going to change. I've asked our folks to look at it again, but I don't see anything that's changed since 2018. I would make a suggestion to the board or to the county to contact Mako out of Charlottesville. They are a guardrail company, and to put a line of guardrail down at the bottom of the hill in front of the building. It would be just a parallel installation, and they may, I know in some situations, they do it pro bono. I don't know if this is one, but I know in the past, like for churches and other organizations, they do it pro bono. That's just a suggestion. I don't think we're gonna be able to do it, simply because it's not warranted. As much as we, I like to put it up, but I'm not gonna put it up and create a fixed object. Like, I just can't do it. Does that help?
Yep.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. And again, congratulations on your staffing changes and filling positions in Bryant.
Yeah.
You got a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yes, sir.
Okay, Jessica?
I don't have anything.
Okay, and I don't either. So just, again, thanks for, keeping things clear and open and safe for us.
All right.
Grateful. Okay, next presentation, Mr. Gary Eanes is here to speak about the 2026 general reassessment.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, board members. Thank you for having me, and I know it's hard to believe it's that time again, but every 4 years, Nelson County conducts a general reassessment, and our company we're proud to be serving you folks again. One thing I always point out that general reassessments are mandated by the state, not the Board of Supervisors, not by the Commissioner of Revenue's office. These are required by the Code of Virginia to conduct a reassessment you can reassess every year. The longest that you can wait is 6 years. Nelson County and the state pretty much recommends at least a 4-year cycle. They would like you to do it more often, but at least a 4-year cycle. So again, it's not you, the Board of Supervisors, that cause these to happen. It's the state of Virginia. Our company, Wamplerings Appraisal Group, I believe this is the 4th time that we've done the reassessment here for Nelson County. So we've been here through the lean times of real estate, through the good times as far as, I guess, values increasing, and we're still in a hot real estate market right now. Our company, as of December, had completed 162 reassessments, in 54 different localities in Virginia and North Carolina, consisting of about 2.7 million properties. Also in December, our company merged with a national company, Vision Government Solutions. They're large up in through Pennsylvania, Ohio, up in New England, as far down as Arkansas. So that gives us more resources to pull from. They've made us stronger. So and we've made Vision stronger. Same group that started here last fall in 24. We have not added any other individuals to the project, so you're looking at still Walgreens employees, and I have been in charge of the reassessment. As I said before, the counties are required by the state to do these reappraisals every 4 years. It's based on population. If you're under 50,000, you have to, you can wait as long as 6 years. Counties like Roanoke County, City of Lynchburg, they would reappraise every year. Another reason to have a reassessment would be if your ratio drops below 70%, and that's saying that if a house sells for basically 100,000 and your assessment's at 69,000, then you're below that 70% ratio. Right now, your homes are below the 70% ratio, so values have increased over the last few years since we did it effective 24. So real estate values are continuing to rise. The first thing we do when we start a reassessment is we start looking at vacant land sales and building sales. So we compiled, these are all sales from Nelson County. I gave Candy a book, so at your leisure, you can, that'll be in her office. You folks can take a look at that and look at the sales that we will be looking at. We will keep these up throughout the process. We will study the housing market all the way up until this coming fall 25. We'll send notices out, hopefully November, no later than December of this year. This reassessment goes into effect 2026. So we will have hearings sometime this fall and basically listen to the citizens to see if they have any concerns about their properties. It's short and sweet, but it's always the same news every 4 years, and we follow the market. We're not coming into Nelson County with any preconceived ideas. We're studying your market right here. We have 5 appraisers here right now. We started with, there's one in the Wintergreen, Stony Creek area. I have one appraiser that's in Afton, one that's north 29, working over through Schuyler, that area, coming 29 from the north. I have another gentleman in the south, headed north on 29, and he will turn and go up toward Montebello. And then there's another gentleman that's in the Gladstone area of the county. So we're spread out all over and studying your market. Any questions?
Do you represent any other counties around us right now?
The closest one that we're probably working, close to Prince Edward, we're getting ready to send notices out on. They're effective 25.
Yeah.
So that one's going over.
I was just more curious on the, what you're seeing on a regional basis.
It's everything. We just sent notices out in Allegheny County. Well, the notices will go out this Friday. I think it's over 50% increase in property values, but that's a 6-year cycle.
Yeah.
I just finished Dinwiddie effective 1/1/25, and we had a 45% there. The real estate market, it's still a good place to put our money. We tax-wise, I guess not so good, but it's nice to, you know, to know that our properties are going upward. Reassessment's only part of the process. Budgeting is the other part of it. You folks will be looking at the tax rate once it's all said and done. So if property values go up 10%, 20%, you know, 40%, that doesn't necessarily mean that a taxpayer is going to be paying 40% more. It just depends on your budget and what you need.
I had a constituent, I think, run one of your people off his property. Of course, I'm only getting one side of the story, but I was wondering how you are educating your people to talk to these landowners.
Right.
Because he presented himself as a county employee. And I did think that was a little odd. But I'm.
No, we do have county IDs.
Yeah.
And our cars are all marked county reassessment.
Okay.
So, and then most of them, I think, they're wearing a yellow vest that says real estate assessor on the back. I don't know if they fit over these big heavy coats we're having to wear now, but we, you know, we do represent the county, but we are contractors. A lot of the times, as soon as we walk up on the property, we're guilty of something.
Absolutely.
So, you know, they associate us with a tax increase. So,
Understandable.
so
Sounds like.
we have to have thick skin.
Yes.
You know, so we, you know, we tell our folks that, we have to try. Our contract with the county says that we will go along every property. We don't climb gates anymore. We used to back in the old days. I would have to climb over a gate and walk into a property, but you just don't do that anymore. We use aerial photography. We have to make an attempt to look at the property. It's only fair if, you know, that we appraise what we see.
Yeah.
So if they ask us to leave, our folks are supposed to be courteous and say, sorry to bother you, and leave the property.
Okay.
So,
All right.
sure, and they still get a fair assessment. We've been called some ugly things
I'm sure.
in the past, but you still have to just do what's right.
So how long are you visiting properties?
On average, or throughout
For
the
this
county,
process?
It'll be a year.
Okay.
We started in the fall, and we'll send notices out this fall.
Okay.
You know, it takes a little time. You know, we're not remeasuring every house. That was done, you know, years ago. We're doing a walk around, looking at condition, adding new decks, whatever changes that are made to the property. Sometimes we're taking away things, structures that have been torn down or that were damaged in Helene or whatever. So our company, we're working in western North Carolina right now too, so we're seeing some damaged properties there.
Absolutely.
We're doing more racing than riding.
Yeah.
So,
What's that? One thought you could have, if you ever running into a scenario of trying to get publicity out to know that society sees that there's assessor, maybe interactions with the sheriff's department, and they could help advertise on their social media
right.
that you're present and what people could look for. That way they know they ain't.
Right. A lot of counties put it right on their website that, you know, have a link to the reassessment, so maybe that's something that we could do.
So I'm just curious, how do you handle, I'm sure you all have had your fair share of canine encounters on property.
I tell our folks, don't get hurt. You know, a lot of times we'll pull up, blow the horn and see if someone will come out, but we won't get out of the car if it looks dangerous.
Good answer.
Yeah, we will not do that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Thank you so much.
thank you, Mr.
Okay. Okay, next presentation is the Nelson County Jail Utilization Report. Matthew Vitale from the Regional Jail.
Good afternoon. for having me. So, Matt Vitale, Jefferson Area Community Corrections. I actually work for OAR. So I prepared a PowerPoint for y'all today. It's pretty lengthy, so I'll try to condense some things, and if I'm getting short on time, just feel free to let me know. And I don't know if y'all want to do questions as we go or save them till the end, whatever y'all would like to do. I'm okay with that.
Okay, I would say have at it, and we'll let you know.
Okay, great. So, let's see if this quick works. So this report spans 2014 through 2023. So you get a pretty good idea of 10-year trends. There's 6 parts, and I've sent this report out to you guys. We might not get a chance to go through all of these sections, but we'll hit some of the highlights, like I said. So the COVID-19 pandemic, as we know, had a pretty significant impact, which you'll be able to see on some of my charts. Now also the second bullet item right here, reported crime incidents. That is from the National Incident-Based Reporting System. So crime incidents actually increased 25%, and those are the numbers for that. The largest reported increase occurred in the crimes against person category, which is assault type charges. And bookings of Nelson responsible inmates increased by 17% from 2014 to 2023. Keep in mind, population estimates have increased quite a bit, or I'm sorry, have actually decreased. And that bottom bullets, individuals serving weekend sentences have been removed. The way the jail management system operates, it would double count weekend bookings and releases. So that was only 178 individuals in the past decade, so not a huge amount there. I represent a couple different organizations, and one of them is the Jefferson Area Community Criminal Justice Board. Mr. Rutherford mentioned earlier, I've replaced Neil Goodlow. I don't know if y'all recall his presentations. He retired in 2023, so I have taken his position. The overall intake rate is interesting. It's 21 per 1,000 individuals, and the average age of inmates entering the jail has risen. And we're seeing that sort of across the Jefferson region. There's been a decrease in your 18 to 29-year-olds and an increase in the 30 and 40-year-olds. So the average age is now 38.7 years. All right, let's look at some of these slides. Okay, so here's your intakes. On your y-axis is number of intakes, and then we have the years on the bottom. It's an increase of 17%. And here's a representation of the average age. So we were at 35.27 in 2014, and it's gone up and down over the years.
When you say average, do you mean median?
Yes, mathematical, yes, sir. Okay, so here we've split out intakes by race. There's been a 42% increase in black inmates booked, which is this bottom blue line here, and a 12% increase when you look at 2014 to 2023. We see that spike kind of from 2016, 2020, and it dips down significantly right as COVID pandemic has hit in 2020. All right, I thought this was interesting. This breaks out your population demographics and your jail intake demographics. So, not a huge difference. Some other localities is pretty significant. So, in 2023, you had 310 jail intakes. And there's the breakdown. 61 black individuals, 249 white individuals. And the way the jail management system works is they're not capturing Hispanics at this time, which is why the other is 0. So the Hispanics generally are kind of lumped in with white individuals. Okay, so what I've done here is provided a likelihood ratio based on your population and based on inmate population. Black individuals in 2023 were 1.93 times more likely to be booked compared to white individuals. Now that is below the national statistic, which I don't have in front of me, but it's lower than the national jail average. Okay, and here's just some limitations, missing context, and some possible future areas to explore. It's not showing us, for example, criminal history. It's not showing us the seriousness of the crime committed. It's just the raw numbers that would be further analysis. This is pretty much on par with national statistics. The difference between male and female intakes. I mean, it looks bad. Female inmates is up by 100%, but if you look at the actual numbers for the whole year, they're just a little bit above 50. Okay, this is intakes by age group. As we were talking about earlier, the younger individuals, which is this pie chart on the right, 2023, you'll see the yellow, which is the ages 18 through 24 cohort, has decreased quite a bit, as well as the age 25 to 29. So you have less younger individuals entering the jail. But on the flip side, you have an increase in ages 30 through 39 and ages 50 plus. And then this chart on the bottom right, it shows the percent change in the past decade. So there's 25% less ages 18 to 24, but there's 109% more 50 plus individuals. So we don't know exactly what's caused this shift in the past 10 years. Here's some possibilities: diversion programs, specialty dockets. I understand you guys now have a drug or recovery court. Older individuals, they might not enter into these diversion programs as they have maybe a more extensive criminal history, so they don't qualify. It could be increased mental health and substance abuse treatment for the younger cohorts. Okay, so this is just 3 different charge types I've broken out for you. Narcotics is this yellow line here. Assault charges is red, and weapons charges is this purple line right here. So this is your quantities of charge categories over the 10-year period. So in 2023, narcotics bookings represent 11% of the total annual bookings. Okay, we've already looked at that. I'm going to skip through. This is mainly just population of the jail. Okay, this is an interesting slide. This shows Virginia's incarceration rate is 679 per 100,000 people. Now this is prisons, jails, juvenile and immigration centers. We're above the United States rate, well above the UK rate. Just to put things in perspective a little bit there. All right, real quick, we'll look at some charge categories. Felony bookings are represented here in your blue line, and misdemeanor bookings are in the orange. You can see we had the dip right after COVID, and there's been a slight increase for misdemeanor booking volume, 6% from 2014, whereas felony bookings, 65% rise. So it might be a good thing that more of the serious type crimes are entering the jail system and less misdemeanor. Okay, so here I've broken out top 10 charge types by booking volume, and this is just 2023. So your highest category of charges entering the jail for 2023 is assault charges. That's followed by DWI, probation violations, narcotics, it's pretty close to weapons charges. Then you have larceny, contempt, which is like failure to appear, fraud, license type charges. Could be like a driving on a revoked or suspended license. And then alcohol is also includes intoxicated in public from other drugs, which are usually categorized as obstruction type charges. Okay, so here's a comparison to 2014. The top 10 charges are blue, and then 2023 is the orange bars. So it's the same chart we just saw, but it's overlaid with the 2014 top 10 booking charges. So you can kind of see how things have changed in the past 10 years. Assault charges, looks like it's about doubled. DWI has gone down, and so on. And we're seeing this across the Jefferson area. Assault charges generally are much higher. Probation violations are much higher. A lot of other localities, DWIs are actually higher, but for here it's gone down. Okay, so this is a sort of like a community booking profile. This is the percent change from the last decade. So for example, this column on the left, it shows you charge categories that have increased, and then the bullets on the right have shown you where it's decreased. So DWIs have decreased by 19%. Bookings, assault charges have increased 117%, and so on. Probation violations have increased 70%. And this is just a heat map that kind of shows the same thing. Okay, and I just break down the assault charges. The second bullet point's interesting. The 41 weapons charges were attached to 18 unique individuals. So some individuals are getting multiple weapons charges there. Okay, length of stay. This is a field that the jail captures. Your average length of stay spiked in 2020. Now it's coming back down again. Okay. One problem with the average length of stay is the data can be skewed pretty easily. Like, let's say if you have someone in the age 18 to 24 category and they stay 200 days, that's going to impact the average age of other individuals. Bed day expenditures. This calculates how many bed days are expended per inmate per day. So for this county, the overall bed day expenditures increased 34%. And those are the numbers there. There's now 15,798 bed days expended in 2023. And then it's broken down by demographics. Looks like white inmates have an increase and black inmates have a decrease. Male and females both are increasing. And then I've broken it down by age cohorts. So as we were talking about earlier, the younger people, age 18 to 24, their bed day expenditures have gone down quite a bit by 62%. And so your big category here is 30 to 39. They've had a big increase in bed days expended. Also the 50 plus age cohort. So kind of interesting how the younger folks, and we don't know if it's that same group of people, if they've just aged 10 years, if they're still having difficulties with the justice system. All right, that's just a 10-year chart of that. As you can see, the majority of bed day expenditures on white individuals, represented by the orange, and the black individuals represented by the blue. Gender, this is pretty common across the Jefferson region and across the country. Most of your bed days are going to be male inmates. We touched on this a little bit. This is the different age groups. Notice how the 18 to 24 age group, they're using only 8% of the bed days expended in 2023. 46% of your bed days are used in the 30 to 39 category. So potential for impact there. And then here's just the percent change for the past decade for those same age categories. Significant change in the 18 to 24 age group. They've gone way down. I think this is the last part of this presentation. This is use of home electronic incarceration. So ACRJ, they've been using like the ankle monitors pretty frequently since COVID. And as COVID restrictions lifted, they're still using it because it's worked out fairly well. And we had a study in partnership with UVA And the research shows that individuals placed on HEI, when they look at their 18-month return to custody rate, like if they are reincarcerated at the same facility, is 12.2% lower than traditional custody. And they compared similar cohorts, similar age groups, similar charges to try to get the most significant results. So I thought that was interesting, 12.2% lower return to custody rate. It also reduces costs on the jail for individuals who have a high level of medical care. They can receive that at home. Or folks that have employment or family, you know, it's less disruptive than serving a traditional sentence. So traditional custody, they studied 555 people. They had a 37.7% return to custody or recidivism rate. And those on HEI only had a 25.5% return to custody rate. And the cost of that program is minimal. And then they also looked at the correlation between race and return to custody rates. And black individuals had a 19.35% reduction in return to custody rates. So it was even greater among that cohort. And then the top 3 charges placed in HEI are generic DUIs, probation violations on felony offense, and drug possession Schedule 1 or 2. And then here's just sort of a lengthy summary I won't read to you guys. And then some next steps that we could possibly look into. And of course, list of sources, where the data came from, and the various studies that went into this. And there's my website as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Vitale. Let's see if we have any questions.
Yes, sir.
Jesse? Okay, thank you very much.
All right. If y'all think of any questions, feel free to email me.
Do you see Neil any?
What's
Do
that?
you see Neil any?
I don't, but I have a meeting with him, I believe, next week. He's pretty much retired.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If you see him, say hello for me.
okay, will do. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Now we move on to new and unfinished business. The first item is considering a change in the ambulance transport billing rates. Andy will walk us through this.
Last meeting in December, the board asked that we take a look at the ambulance transport rates and bring back a presentation for you on that. So here we are. Our authorizing statutes are Code of Virginia 32.1-111.14 and 38.2-3407.9. Additionally, there is authorized in the Code of Nelson County, Section 13.1, fees for emergency ambulance service, subsection C and D of Chapter 13, emergency services, Article 1, emergency ambulance service. This slide depicts our current ambulance transport rates, which have been in effect since March 22 of 2012. So for basic life support, the current rate is $470. For advanced life support 1, it's $550, and these are per trip. Advanced life support 2 is $775, and mileage at all service levels is $13 per loaded mile. We've received the updated 2025 Medicare rate analysis from our billing company, EMSMC, and some recommendations. This chart shows the 2025 Medicare allowable charges for a rural area as compared to our current charges, and then shows recommended 150% of the Medicare allowable, 200% of the Medicare allowable, and then a middle range of 170% of the Medicare allowable. And you can see there's quite a difference there, and that's because our rates haven't changed since 2012.
What is the standard for Virginia, or just whatever you decide?
Yes, it is whatever you decide. We didn't compare Virginia. We do have some comparisons for you with some other localities that are using the same billing company. They did provide us with that. I think that's coming up. So the billing company did provide us with some estimated annual revenue gains per rate increase options for 150% of the Medicare allowable. They're estimating at a 60% confidence at a collection rate, we'd get about $30,000 in new revenue. At 80% collection, it would be about $40,000. For 170% of Medicare allowable, for 60% collection, be about $48,000. For 80%, about $63,000. And at 200% of the Medicare allowable, they're estimating the gain to be $74,000 at 60% collection and almost $99,000 at 80% collection. And from our statistics, from January 24 through September of 24, our net collection rates ranged from 63.2% to 92.6%. It does take about 90 days from date of service to realize payment collection. Also in our FY25 budget, our transport billing revenue is budgeted at $781,000. This helps to offset the FY25 budgeted EMS council expenditures, which is our volunteer fire and EMS agency contributions of $628,279, and then the budgeted career EMS expenditures of $1.6 million. Here's a chart that shows the similar EMS MC billing agency rates as compared to Nelson County. You see Appomattox rates in the first column, Greene counties in the second, and Washington volunteer in the third, and then Nelson is on the end there. I can't really tell what level of Medicare allowable these are because we don't know where they are in terms of when they might have raised their rates last.
That's would be my question. When did they go up last?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little information for you all on our transport billing collection policy. No one will ever be denied necessary medical transport services due to either the inability to pay or lack of insurance. If you're not covered by insurance, billing to the consumer occurs within 30 days of the date of service. The billing company sends past due notices after 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days overdue. Then after 120 days, the account is considered uncollectible and is written off. We also do offer financial hardship waivers that are available, and the established financial hardship waiver of fees guidelines are used to evaluate the request. And we use 200% of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Federal Poverty Levels Table. The billing company is currently authorized to establish payment plans of $50 a month with a minimum monthly payment of $25 per month. The county, up to this point, has only authorized soft billing. No debt collection agency recovery is authorized without express authorization from the county administrator or their designee. This is what the 2024 200% of federal poverty level table looks like. So you have the number of persons in the household, and then that 200% threshold over to the right. Once you get beyond 8 people, then you would add an additional $10,760 for each additional person. So the applicant or responsible party completing and submitting the financial hardship waiver request form does qualify for 100% waiver of fees after any insurance if the following guidelines are met. We did provide some statistics for you for January of 2024 through December 2024. That report that we got from the billing company was included in your packet. We had a total trip count of 1,348. The gross charges were 1.2 million. The contract allowance amounts that were deducted were $349,478. The net charges after those allowances, $912,037. We had a few revenue adjustments, $32.99. Received total payments of $544,425. Only had $21,000 in write-offs, $518 in refunds, and we have an accounts receivable balance due of about $347,000. And this resulted in a net collection percentage of 59.6%. Our billing company does retain 5.29% of the receipts as payment for their services. I'll note again, from January 24 to September 24, our net collection rates range from 63.2% to 92.6%. And it takes about 90 days from date of service to payment collection. The patient data transfer issue that we previously talked about has negatively impacted these statistics. And then we'll do the reverse and positively affect them in the near future once these enter the payment collection cycle. So again, from January 24 through December, we have some data service statistics here. Our primary payer mix for the 6 to 12 month mature average. You can see on the left side, Medicare was paid for 30% of the trips. Medicare Advantage, 27%, insurance, 11%, Medicaid, 1%, Medicaid MCO, 17%, and the patient paid 13%, and then other government payers, 1%. So about 86% of the transport payments came from private insurance, Medicare, or Medicaid, and then 14% from individuals and other. And then the chart next to it just shows the net collection percentage by primary payer, with, of course, Medicare and insurance and Medicaid being the highest collection percentages. Okay, this is just a couple of graphics showing, let's see, data service and number of trips. You can see there's a dip there. I believe that's probably where we had the issue in the billing company being able to download the trip data from our providers. And as we previously reported, that's being resolved, and so we should be seeing an uptick in payments received here in the next, over the next few months, I would say. Okay, does the board have any questions so far?
Don't hear any?
No? Okay. Then I guess staff would like to request that the board consider a rate increase option of either 150% of the Medicare allowable or the 170% of the Medicare allowable. Rounded to the nearest dollar, which we can make this effective January 1. If you all would like to make a rate change, then please consider adopting Resolution 2025-05. We have included two options within the resolution, so you would need to choose either option A or B. Option A, I believe, is the 150% of Medicare allowable, and option B is 170% of Medicare allowable. And again, these would be effective January 1, 2025.
Okay. Board, what's your pleasure? Anyone have some comments or some direction or some proposal?
It's a long time coming. I think we should go to the 170
Yeah.
personally.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're also welcome to consider the 200% if you so choose. We just didn't include that in as an option.
How about this? We reassess it another year or two and see where we stand.
Yeah,
See
I
how
think
this
that's,
plays out.
I think that would be a healthy practice with, there's many things like this in the county, that go one-offs. And, you know, this is something that probably needs to be revisited often. Honestly, in my opinion, I know we've talked about this just about every budget, but this doesn't necessarily have to be part of the budget process. This is a situational thing, and nowadays we have, I believe it is 2 24/7 crews now, or one?
Yes.
It's 2. And so we're providing more services as well. And I see this as, you know, with the light mechanism of billing, you know, if you can't afford it, you know, we have metrics to be forgiven, and, you know, this isn't going to show up on your credit report if you can't pay it, and it's forgiven. So, you know, this is really largely reflecting on insurance companies that already have this built into their algorithm. So to me, this isn't necessarily a fee increase on the person. It's for the pieces of our life that we already have that's built it in their algorithm to pay it.
I agree.
I'll be supportive of 170.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm in agreement as well. So would someone like to make a motion on this?
I move we adopt R 2025-05 for the 170% increase.
Which under the resolution that we've been given would be scenario B.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any more discussion?
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
One thing I'd like to mention too that's in our policy, let's see, is that it's a great benefit for our volunteers because volunteer members of our EMS system or their immediate family members who live in the same household receive an administrative write-off of amount due after any insurance that's billed for services received. So just wanted to make that point there too.
Thank you. Thanks, Candy, for adding that to it.
Not to put more on your plate, but when's the last time we shopped around other companies that provide this service and checked rates to make sure they're comparable and doing a good job?
It has been a little while. We started out with a company out of Virginia Beach when we first began the program, and then we went to this one. So it has been a while since we've done an RFP for these services. So that's something we can look at if you're all interested in
Hey, nothing wrong with shopping.
doing that.
I mean, as things get digitized, sometimes it gets cheaper.
Yeah. This, I will say this has been a good company to work with so far, but we can see what else is out there.
Okay. Okay. Okay, very good. Next, we have a funding request from Rockfish Valley Community Center.
Okay, I thought I'd introduce this. We do have Stu Mills here from RVCC, that he can answer any questions you might have. I'll just briefly note that RVCC is in the development of 2 dedicated pickleball courts on their campus, plus the completion of their partially built 0.3-mile walking and exercise path encircling the recreation fields. They assert this project will enhance recreational and physical fitness opportunities for all county residents and are requesting a contribution from the board in the amount of $25,000 to complete their fundraising effort. The completed walking path will include a multifunction exercise station, enabling community to focus on both cardio and strength conditioning. The path will also serve others who will now have a safe car-free venue for running, rollerblading, biking, longboarding, scooter riding, and kids ride-on cars. So they have shown in their project budget that they provided, let's see, that they have received pledges totaling over $55,000 from some organizations. In addition to that fundraising, they have launched a direct appeal campaign that began in October with their membership and local residents in hopes of raising $50,000 from that effort. They have raised, I believe, $33,000 as of the writing of their request. So again, they are requesting $25,000 contribution to enhance the project, which would provide them the needed amount to cover all of the expenditures related to the pickleball courts and the path project. I'll let Mr. Mills address you and
Okay.
answer any questions.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, Candy. We don't have a formal presentation to offer you. The request is sort of our presentation. But we would very much appreciate the consideration of the board in entering into a partnership of a sort of quasi-NGO government partnership that we've talked about in the past between county government and your local community centers, we being one of those. I think you all know about pickleball and what's happened recently with that. I'm not old enough to play pickleball yet, but I'm thinking about taking it. There's a tremendous amount of desire on the part of our membership and the community in developing the capability to do that. Here today in the audience is one of our board members, Ken Schultz, who also represents the Nelson County Pickleball Association, who could respond to any questions you have about the sport and its growth. But we would very much like to develop this capability. It has wide appeal. As important as the pickleball is to us, also our walking path, completing our walking path is very, very important to us. A third of a mile uninterrupted paved walking path isn't available anywhere in Nelson without dodging cars. And we would very much like to be able to complete that. The first half of that path was almost accidental. We budgeted it as an add-on to our skate park expansion project a couple of years ago, and it has become really highly used. We'd like to be able to complete the loop around the entire recreational fields, though, so that we would be able to have circuit training rather than linear training. So that would be also very important to us. We're happy to report that the fundraising that we've been able to do last fall has been very successful. We have tremendously generous members and a local community. And right now, we have raised $35,000 of our targeted $50,000 from individuals and local businesses. And we just need some help getting over the edge, getting over the top, rather. This has been a very difficult process for us in a way. We always try, when we're doing projects like this, to time the fundraising so that it just doesn't interfere with our annual fund raising process. It wasn't possible with this project. This is a very large project for us. This is only the third time that we've done recreational projects in excess of 6 figures. And this being one of them, and we are competing with ourselves in a way to develop the funds for it. We'd appreciate your consideration. Like they say in all fundraising, anything will help, but a $25,000 contribution from the county would put us over the top. With that, I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay.
Yes, real quick, so your target's 50,000 total?
Our target was $50,000 from individual contributions.
From individual contributions?
Yeah.
And then you need the additional 25,000 on top of that?
Yeah, we've received $55,000 from foundations and businesses. We're really proud of that, but we've exhausted our foundation resources now. So we're at a total right now of committed funds of $90,000, and I'm very pleased to tell you that we had a grant from the Piery Foundation, which many of you are familiar with, of $30,000. If we could match that $30,000 dollar for dollar, and as of today, we've matched it. So we're guaranteed those funds, and we'll be writing a letter to Piery Foundation shortly to request them.
Okay. David?
I have no comment.
Mine's more of a statement than a question. Of course, I grew up playing soccer at the Rock. Well, it wasn't even the Rockfish Community Center there. At that point, I
Yeah,
don't think
elementary
it
school.
was an abandoned soccer field that they just kept mowing. So I drive past there every day. It makes me smile every day, except for maybe the traffic on 151 there. But I love to see the success. What you all have done has impressed me and continues to. So I'm happy to support this. It actually, it's probably wrong to say, is truly what I would want a community center to look like and have the people smiling there. I don't see that at these other community centers.
Give them time.
Yeah, oh yeah,
They're
yeah, I
working on
agree.
it.
But I just, hopefully, they're asking you what you've done and what you've done right. So the fact that you reclaimed that building brings me joy. The playground, my children love it. So good job.
Okay. Yeah, I totally concur with Dr. Ligon. RVCC is pretty near and dear to my heart for a lot of reasons, and support of our community centers is really paramount, I think, for a healthy community and a vibrant community. And we've recently had opportunities to support some of the other centers in capacity as they're trying to play catch up in some ways, but they're also being recognized for the communities they represent. This is something that can benefit not just people in Tommy's district and my district and those who live close by, but other people in the county as well. RVCC has a great relationship with our Parks and Rec department, and I think that this would be a real asset for the entire community.
Just to respond to that, we are so pleased with the leadership that Jerry has provided to Nelson County Parks and Recreation, because it's a truly collaborative stance that he has taken with us. And we're doing some new things. We may even be having lacrosse play at RVCC soon. So yeah, we're very happy to work with the county in that capacity.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
May I say one more thing before you all vote?
Thank you.
In terms of where these funds might come from, I just wanted to alert the board that we do have some forest sustainability fund monies on hand that is through the state, and it assists localities providing a portion of foregone revenue that's due to forest use value taxation. And these funds must be used for solely public education generally, or for projects related to outdoor recreation or forest conservation. So I think these funds would be appropriate to use in this case if you were so inclined to do that.
How many funds are available?
So we have, well, in FY23, we got $41,389, and just yesterday we received $95,321. So we have a total of $136,710. So if we devoted this 25, we'd have a balance of $111,710.
Good enough for me.
Wow. Sounds great timing.
Very good timing,
Yeah.
very fortuitous.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
move that we allocate $25,000 as requested for the Rockfish Valley Community Center funding request.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
You're last.
Say yes.
Yes? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have you all over for a pickleball party in the fall.
I've fallen in the kitchen a couple times if y'all have ever played pickleball.
And just to clarify, we'll use those sustainability funds?
Yes.
I would appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Candy, you have the lectern for your county administrator report.
Okay. All right, first I'll report on the status of the DSS building. Previously reported that there were some underground storage tanks that needed to be removed down at the site. That has been removed and the associated testing showed no adverse environmental impacts. So closing on the property purchase is being finalized by the county attorney with the property owner's attorney. PMA is working on building construction design documents and furniture sampling with DSS staff. Timmons, the geotechnical subcontractor, has submitted the stormwater management plan to DEQ and the major site plan for review by county planning and zoning, building inspections, the health department, VDOT, and DEQ. And finance and admin staff are working with PMA and Davenport to develop an integrated timeline of construction and permanent financing for the project. As most of you already know, the Region 2000 landfill expansion rezoning and special use permit application was denied on a 4-3 vote by the Campbell County Board of Supervisors, and that occurred January 7th. We'll start looking at the feasibility of other disposal options for when the landfill is anticipated to reach capacity in 2028 or early 2029.
Does this require RFP?
I think that would probably be the best way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's required, but I think we should definitely issue an RFP for that.
Yeah, see if we have any trash contracting entities that want to pick it up
Right.
directly.
Okay. As far as the FY26 budget, there's no change from last report. We're still working on collecting and developing departmental CIP data and entering departmental budget data within the system. We will be providing a preliminary budget calendar here shortly, as soon as we get that more solidified, and we can send that out to the board in between meetings if we get that put together for y'all to start thinking about budget work sessions. I've given you a list here of the General Assembly 2025 session dates from January 17th through April 12th. So we'll be watching what the state's doing pretty closely over the next few months. Also provided you all with the VACO summary. It was rather lengthy. I apologize for that. It's a summary of the governor's proposed amendments to the 24-26 biennium budget. Last meeting, we talked about dog licenses, and the board was interested in more information on that. So I gathered some information from the treasurer's office, and according to Ms. Hull, the FY24 cost of issuing dogs and kennel licenses was $2,600. She wasn't sure what the postage costs were to mail a tag or license back to the citizen once they paid for that. So that's not included in that $2,600. Revenues collected were $14,821 for an approximate net gain of $12,207. And as of November 2024, they've sold 564 annual licenses, 16 10-dog kennel licenses, 6 20-dog kennel licenses, and 3 50-dog kennel licenses. Additionally, they've sold 1,039 lifetime licenses since the implementation of that on July 13, 2021. The Virginia State Code requires dog licensing and imposing a fee for such licensing in the sections below that I'll read in just a moment. These are also incorporated into the Code of Nelson County, Chapter 3, Animals, Article 2, Dogs and Cats, and Section 3-26 and 3-28. So State Code 3.2-6524 says that it shall be unlawful for any person other than a releasing agency that has registered as such annually with the local animal control to own a dog 4 months or older in the Commonwealth unless such dog is licensed as required by the provisions of this article. Section 3.2-6528 says the governing body of each county or city shall impose by ordinance a license tax on the ownership of dogs within its jurisdiction. So that is not something that we can just say we want to do away with. Let's see, I'm happy to report that the county received a FEMA Virginia Department of Emergency Management Grant Award, and congratulations to John Atkins in his submittal of a successful grant application. And also want to thank all the volunteer fire and EMS agencies that worked with him on this application. The county's been awarded a $275,100 grant to provide backup generators at 7 local fire and EMS locations. These locations are designated as emergency shelters in the county's emergency operations plan. So these are Montebello Fire Department, Nelson EMS, that's the Nims building on 29, Roseland Rescue Squad, Piney River Volunteer Fire Department, Fall River Volunteer Fire Department, Livingston Volunteer Fire Department, and Rockfish Valley Volunteer Fire Department. The grant funds are comprised of $209,600 in federal funds, $52,400 in state funds, and $13,100 in local funds, which can be either in-kind or a cash match. So the county intends to meet our match obligation through in-kind services provided by county staff in implementing the project. This period of project performance expires March 11, 2026. And we're in the process of scheduling a kind of a grant kickoff meeting with a VDOT representative here in the next week or so to get this going. You guys heard a little bit about the Skylar boat takeout, but as you heard, Jerry West is working with the VDOT staff and the property owner to finalize and submit the required land use permit to VDOT. So in this case, the property owner must be the permit applicant, and Parks and Rec can be their agent in the application process. We also heard a little bit about the guardrail request at the Nims building, so go over that again. We did provide the meals and lodging tax collection and lodging entity tracking charts. We had an increase of lodging units from 802 to 806 since the last report. And that's all I have for you.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
On the generators,
Yes.
is that's replacing existing generators for the most part?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we sell the old ones?
That is something we can look at doing, yes, because some of them, most of them are functioning, they're just maybe
Yeah,
not
getting
sized
old.
for an emergency shelter.
I mean, it should be able to get some, I guess, I don't know, what would we normally do? How do we sell stuff as a county?
Lately we've been doing like govdeals.com kind of
Yeah.
online auction outfits.
Is it the same thing the sheriff does to sell stuff?
Yes, I think we've kind of collaborated on that for a couple of sales, so,
Yeah, I was gonna say, might as well throw it in something that he's selling, get a bigger crowd.
yeah.
We're keeping the money though.
He'll ask for it back anyway.
He's gonna give us a 10% commission fee. if we-
Well, most of their property is actually county properties.
Oh, yeah, fair. That's fair. That goes to us
It's all the
anyway.
same lot.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
Oh, I should add, just to add to what Mr. Parr said about Ms. Staten's retirement, and just want to say how lucky we all are, the county has been to have her in that position and serving both the schools and the county for all those years. Just want to publicly thank her for all she's done, and she's been a tremendous asset, so. Wishing her the best in her retirement, even though we'll miss her. One other thing is, I did get a response with an email proposal from Mr. Steele from CHA on the follow-up. So I had planned to discuss that under correspondence, so we can either do it then or now, whatever your preference might be.
Why don't we do it now, since you introduced it? That's okay.
Whatever you would like to do. I think, do they have a copy of it? Okay. It should be marked as correspondence on the top in red. So he's broken it down into two different areas. The Dillard Creek water source evaluation. For about $15,000, he would use the U.S. Geologic Survey flow gauge data and historical drought data to determine existing flows in Dillard Creek. This would determine how much water can be taken from the creek. They will also evaluate permitting requirements associated with withdrawing water from the creek. A summary of all findings and estimated cost of developing a creek withdrawal system would be prepared. And then they would present the findings to the Board of Supervisors. Secondly, they would perform a phase 1 well evaluation for a cost of $18,000. This would be subsurface investigations that would allow them to map the geologic conditions on the Larkin property. The information would be utilized to identify favorable well sites based on geologic conditions. They would prepare a proposed well site drawing and provide estimate costs to drill test wells and perform drawdown tests to determine how much water can be withdrawn from the wells. I received this earlier today, so.
All right. So you said it was $18,000? I don't have it in front of me.
$15,000 and $18,000 for each
Sure.
total, so $33,000 total, I'm sorry. 15,
Well, I mean,
18, 33.
Here's the deal. Doing the evaluation is one thing. Drilling a well and doing a drawdown test doesn't cost 18 grand and I guess my question is when he says 18,000, how many wells is that?
Yeah, those are questions I haven't had the opportunity to ask,
I mean,
which I could find out.
if we really wanted to do something like this, it's not going to be that hard to just get 2 well drillers in Nelson, go out there and use the best looking fruit tree out there and see where the stick sticks, and then drill a couple wells for $5 grand. Do drawdown test is nothing. I mean, that's just as simple as sitting there with the rig and with a gallon bucket, seeing how quick it fills up. And then seeing where the static head of water sits at. So, I mean, I would ask the question, how many wells is in 18K? If it's just one well, that's way too expensive. And say, we'll just go, you really want to do the $15,000 geologic thing just for the things we do, and then go get Kenny Sites or Gans or someone like that and go drill a well or two. We can even make it a competition at that. Who could get the best water? That's just the only thing I would say. If it's just one well for 18 grand, that's way too expensive. Especially if you ain't dropping a well pump and a pressure tank and all that.
I mean, he says test wells plural, so I'm assuming, based on that, I think it means more than one, but.
It better be 3.
Certainly.
I mean, and even if we're just drilling a hole and not putting a pump in it, it shouldn't cost much more than $6,000-7,000 a pop.
Yeah, I think a lot, or a good portion of it is the subsurface investigation using that resistivity testing, if that's the correct way to pronounce that.
Mm-hmm.
The more engineered responses on the second page, using the engineering lingo that I asked for clarification on because I'm not an engineer. So it sounds a whole lot more scientific
I mean,
than,
all our wells were drilled without much science.
yeah. But, I mean, one benefit might be that if he's mapping out the preferable locations and we can overlay that on our, the Larkin site map that we have for the recreation areas, that could be helpful. So that might be a benefit.
We have 2 people in the room on the Service Authority Board in this room, but they may not be willing to comment. If the goal is to increase these wells are for the service authority essentially, in my opinion, right? Am I correct in that? What permits do they have to pull? What information do they have to provide to get those permits, to get this ball rolling? If we call a well driller and do this ourselves, are we able to collect the information needed to push forward with whatever the service authority needs to actually use this situation? That's my question.
Yeah, I guess I'm not completely sure whether or not this would be involve the service authority unless the wells are gonna be connected to their system.
Yeah.
If it's just gonna be an internal Larkin property water provision, then not, but if it's connected to their system, then we
I
would
thought the
need
whole
some
point of this
collaboration.
was, after the water study, do we have enough water to develop Livingston and do all those things? So this was the secondary thing to that report.
Sorry.
So the service authority is involved, right?
Yes, if it's more than just looking at the water supply on the Larkin property, but I think he's understanding it that that's localized to that particular piece of property, maybe not necessarily the entire system.
I don't agree.
Well, if we were going, if it was going to be incorporated into the service authority, it would be a whole different valuation, not in terms of volume, but in terms of responsibility and engineering. Could it be more engineering than just would be required to do this? So I
And I
would,
suppose that
I
would be
mean,
the board's
the-
direction. Do we
Right.
want it to be more encompassing
right.
for overall water capacity?
And the information that we get from this would inform that, I would think. I would not be averse to having, a little more information about the well evaluation, what exactly they're going to be,
Yeah, I mean-
what they're actually doing and providing as a result of that. The water source evaluation is pretty clear, I think, in terms of what, flow projections and all those kind of things, which,
Yeah.
we'd like to get something certainly similar for our money if we're going to be asked to do this.
I mean,
I guess I need more clarity. I really thought that we did the water study, how much can the service authority handle to provide, and then this segued into this, do we have water? Can we get water from this situation? How is that not connected?
well, I mean, we definitely were interested because the expansion of something is gonna be needed because Livingston
Right.
is limited. And that's why I thought the Dillard Creek, when we talked about the retention aspect of it for the creek, we wanted to explore also the well drilling situation to see if that's also a feasible option. This is really kind of a compounding ask for the expansion of Livingston's needs and potentially whatever happens down that direction as well.
Yeah.
We have limited capacity. We know that's material fact.
So,
But right now, the service authority is, I believe, looking into, or we already have the information, that the options that the service authority has for increasing capacity outside of the Dillard Creek is drilling more wells that would serve the current system. So certainly there's a relationship here, but I don't see, I don't see an issue or a problem or
I guess these are my issues. One, we have two entities spending the same amount of money in two different locations that doesn't sound like they're talking to each other. Two, I don't mind doing the investigation cheaper, but if it goes to the service authority and they're able to use it and that's the path we're gonna take, are we shooting ourselves in the foot by not doing it with the engineer guy?
Right.
That's my two issues with this.
Yeah, I would,
I mean-
I would agree that
True
using
enough.
CHA
Sure.
might be the
Yeah.
best alternative, for
No,
sure.
I'm not saying not.
Yeah.
I also agree one well. I'd like to see more on the well department.
Yeah.
But I think we need to have a clearer path.
Right.
It doesn't sound like we're all on the same page.
What was the last discussion you had at the service authority related to Dillard Creek?
that it's a possibility. That's all, really that's it, in term, it would be great to have information about what flow data it would be, because the service authority is responsible for providing, the Livingston system.
Sure.
And historically, the service authority does not, in and of itself, provide the direction for what it is it's going to do in terms of expanding its capacity. The county does that, and then the service authority implements that, or provides the water.
Quasi what the directives we were given, because as we learned over the last several years that capacity is very much limited, and we're limited in certain things happening in Livingston unless capacity's changed.
Right.
Diller Creek was a piece of that puzzle.
Yeah, it is, and I believe that, having information allows us to chart a course,
Okay.
as opposed to,
Well, I'm not saying-
we don't have a course pre-charted
Right.
for this at all.
Is it talking to the people that know more about this, which I'm assuming the Service Authority Board are those people? Should we ask them? It sounds like they have a path for more wells.
Yeah.
They should come talk to us, maybe.
We're looking at, we're trying to get as much information as possible. And I don't see that trying to get information and having an agenda are the same thing. Because you can't make a decision or have an agenda unless you have the information. And I believe that this of course would be valuable for anyone who's concerned about water resources in the county.
I have one more question. From the direction this is going, it sounds like we were going to take it upon ourselves to deal with the water on Larkin, to supply Larkin or Livingston, and not include the service authority? Is that?
I didn't know we didn't have the intentions of including the service authority. I don't think that was. Maybe there's a breakdown in communication that I'm completely missing.
Okay,
Yeah. What has been the interactions between the county and the service authority related to whether it was the water retention or the wells? What was the dialogue or back and forth? Was there any?
Candy?
It's been a while since we've had any, because we decided we were gonna work with CHA on, through their term contract to get more information about the water and sewer capacity. And we really haven't had any discussions since then.
Isn't this the guy that we've been waiting to hear from for
Yes, and that was
like
my
6
whole
months?
reasoning and wanted to bring this up today, so that I could get some direction from you all, and if you're interested, he can develop a more detailed proposal to bring back. I'm not necessarily asking for any decisions today, just want to get it back in front of you because we have been waiting.
Because this was our July 9th
Yes.
Board of Supervisor meeting, is when we discussed this.
Yes.
Sounds to me like we're ready to move forward with the Diller Creek water source evaluation,
Yeah.
and we need more information on the well evaluation.
Yeah.
And while we're getting that information, perhaps maybe George or somebody could be contacted and have a conversation with them as well.
It took him that long to get back to us?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
They've had some issues with the company. They had one of their main engineers pass away, and it's just been a lot of things, and he has been slow to get back to me.
yes, he has.
Okay.
But that,
Yeah, I think the evaluation makes sense. Definitely getting more information about the well conversation. I do think that a stronger dialogue between Service Authority and the board on kind of like what the future is. I guess maybe that's after we get a little bit better of an evaluation on that end.
because regardless of whether there is enough water on the property to service Livingston or the service authority in whatever capacity, there's still going to be water needs on the Larkin property.
Yes.
You know, we're going to still have stuff going on. We're going to need to water fields, and we're going to need, water spigots, and we're going to need bathroom, whatever. So we still need to know what's going on there. Dillard Creek water source evaluation and, can we turn that into some sort of recreational use or not? And so that's why we need to know,
Yeah.
is there enough water or not? And then we need to know what's going on with well water. And if that shows, hey, we got lots of water, send some to Livingston. If not, we're still gonna need it at Larkin.
Okay. I'm fine moving forward with the evaluation with getting further details out of him
Yeah.
for the well portion.
So if he sends me back a more formal proposal for the Dillard Creek water source evaluation, I can go ahead and sign that and get that rolling.
I think so.
And then just bring back
Yes.
the other phase one evaluation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You in agreement?
Yeah, I'd like. there
The
to be-
conversation,
Yes.
exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe at some time, a joint meeting would be a good idea, or something that would, if you think there's not good communication between the two, that's, pretty subjective, then, getting together on it would be a good idea sometime.
Okay. Sounds good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Candy. So we have board reports. I'm going to go to Jessica first this time, because
The only thing I really, I guess need to report on is that it seems things are progressing with the jail board renovation of the jail. I'm really impressed with the people that have been hired to find contractors, make sure that they're kosher in a sense, with their past history, their ability to allow the jail to keep running and plow things on. But it's been nice for me because it sounds like we're going to be getting our financing around the same time we will be doing financing for social services. So hearing everything twice.
Nice.
But otherwise, things seem to be progressing. Of course, the amount that we're going to pay in next year is going to be higher because our incarceration rate is higher, it seems. Or our percentage. The percentage of people there, more of Nelson County. So look for that in the budget. That's all I got.
Okay. Mr. Parr?
EMS Council didn't meet in December, we'll meet next week. And social services, of course, we got a building update already, but I'm not going to get into details. But if you see Brad and his staff out and about, take a minute to thank them for the work that they do. They have an emotionally strenuous position, and they deal with a lot of things that we might not know about, and it's tough on them. So just next time you see them, tell them thank you, because they do it. And the team, Brad has put together a great team. He's got positions filled, and they get along well. They work well together, and they do a fantastic job. So, yep, that's all.
We did not have, we had a virtual PDC meeting, not much was discussed there. And then related towards, we had a chance to go take a look at the property in question over in Gladstone. Got to see views of Gladstone from an angle I've never seen. So that was kind of neat. And then beyond that, I don't think we had too much crazy stuff other than the holidays for me.
Yeah, it was a slow month for me too. The Service Authority did meet, nothing earth-shattering to report. Still standing by for the Wintergreen wastewater plant is operational, but there's going to be, I believe, when the weather changes a little bit, there'll be something community-wide that we can actually hang our hat on for having that, that very long-standing and costly and important project to be, pretty much complete. So that'll be coming up. And I have nothing else to report on that. We do have appointments to look at here.
Bless you.
I saw we had, was it Mark Stapleton?
We have 2 applicants for the Criminal Justice Board,
Yeah.
Mark Stapleton and Stephen Poff. And we have their applications.
Yeah, Poff was the guy from Roanoke, if I
Yes.
remember correctly. Yeah, I mean, I think Mark will, this would be intriguing for him, and he's a good guy who's served the planning commission well. I think he'd be a good fit, if you're ready for a motion.
See if there's any more comments, if not.
And he's
Have at
a
it.
resident.
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we put Mark Stapleton in the CCJB, yes, position.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Dr. Ligon?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes. Okay. Correspondence, Dr. Ligon?
Well, I am probably batting 50% at this point for people that want the solar project and people that do not. And that's pretty been the majority of the correspondence I've been getting over the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Mr. Parr?
I too have gotten that same correspondence. But beyond that, and other correspondence that I got, some constituents about, related towards the sidewalks in Livingston and how the snow piled up. Though I think historically the snow usually melted quick enough to where it didn't stay there in mass long enough. So I've been talking to some residents about what it is that we could think about as a community about snow removal in those spots where it tends to dam up. VDOT obviously does not have a responsibility to clear the sidewalks. This responsibility is kind of a statewide thing. But in instances like this, isolated ones, you know, is there something that we could think about? Some community and I are interacting on some strategies that aren't crazy costly, just at least to maybe even if potentially a network of contractors who might be willing to shovel at a lower rate. So, yeah, work from within. I did have a directive if we're after you.
Okay, let's bounce back on that then. Go ahead.
Directive, I have been interacting with Appalachian Electric Power Company about lighting over here coming up Main Street to Court Street. It's kind of short, a few lights over there. It gets really dark, and there's a lot of people who are, whether it's recreating or trying to interact in the village itself. We've noticed this especially in the holidays when we shut down for the trick-or-treat parades, stuff of that nature. I spoke with AEP just to get a general idea of what a couple lights on poles might cost, just to create a better lighting situation in there. They're supposed to get back to me. They said, yes, it's something practical. It's just what the means are for dollars and cents. And one question I have for staff, the current lights on Main Street, is that county funded, similar story with Shipman and whatnot? Or is that resident specific?
No, I believe any of the actual street lights
Yeah.
are county funded.
Got it, okay. So I just asked them on a practical, I'll connect once they kind of answer a couple more of my questions. And then next month I was gonna potentially make a directive to add a couple more lights in Livingston. So it's a directive that I'm figuring out some of the groundwork first. Yeah,
Okay. Wouldn't mind seeing that on the agenda.
yeah, I'll let you know
Yeah.
once I'm done arguing with
Good.
this person.
Okay. And I have none. So,
None what?
no directives.
Well, correspondence.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And mine's more of a request for the chair, but in the future, if you could add a break in the middle of the agenda, that'd be great.
Sorry. Okay, so, any other business that we need to consider before we do that?
Dockets pay for every time he does it. Just kidding.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, if there's no other business, then we will adjourn to our evening session, which will start up at